How's everyone doing? Happy belated Earth Day. This is a day that we pause for a second in our busy lives and think of ways we can help the environment. Common things people think of is recycling, planting trees, and increasing electric car use. But there is one major thing that people don't often realize will actually make the biggest difference. Let me tell you my story of how I made a decision that changed my life and the planet for the better. 10 years ago, when I was starting high school, I was part of the marching band. This congregation has seen me play flute, and it's what I played back then too. I remember I cared about the environment a lot, and my big thing was recycling. I would make sure to recycle every little thing, even sticky notes and candy wrappers, which I know are not recyclable now. One time I remember the whole band was throwing out papers, and I made them wait for me to run inside and grab a recycling bin. I felt like a good person for doing that, but later I learned that that made virtually no difference. You see, in college I learned that most recyclables don't actually get recycled, even if they are in a recycling bin. It would be quite surprising if a school or university actually recycled. They can't monitor what goes into the recycling bin, so it's just easier to throw everything out. I remember in college when I found out the whole city of Philadelphia was tossing items from the trash and recycling bins into the same place, which means that the recycling bins were literally just there so people didn't get upset, so they felt like they were making a difference. Luckily for me, I had actually been making a real difference for the planet since high school, so let's go back to that. Sophomore year of high school, I started dating someone from the band who later became a wonderful friend for years to come. We were very close, and we would Skype every night, sometimes falling asleep with the Skype running, letting our phones die overnight. He knew how important the environment was to me, and one night he changed my life forever. He told me about the impacts that the meat industry has on the environment. Ladybug. Sorry. It was so long ago that I don't remember exactly the things he said, but I remember he was not trying to convince me of anything. He just told me about the terrible association between eating meat and the environment. A few days later, I remember I went to a TGI Fridays or a restaurant like that, and I had chicken Alfredo, and I knew that it would be my last meal with meat. On the way home, I told my mom that tomorrow I would go vegetarian. Now that was an adjustment. I remember getting a salad from McDonald's and not being able to eat it because it had bacon bits on it. Come to find out much later that most bacon bits are actually not made out of real bacon. It was also an adjustment for my family because I was 15 at the time and still a dependent. So they had to cook differently and prepare food differently, but I look back and I'm very grateful that they went along with it. Into my junior and senior year of high school, I would eat vegan whenever I could. For those who don't know, vegetarians cut out meat and fish. Vegans cut out all animal products, including meat, fish, milk, eggs, even gelatin, which is made out of crushed animal bone. Vegans even avoid leather, animal horn buttons, which I accidentally bought one time. It was a whole thing. And fur. So I would incorporate veganism into my diet whenever I could, and I knew eventually I would go vegan, but I wasn't quite ready for that. Freshman year of college, I decided it was time. Going vegan was an adjustment too, but keep in mind, I was going cold turkey. I just cut out everything at once. That was my journey, but it does not have to be everyone's. Here are some environmental-based reasons to try a plant-based life, a plant-based day, or even just a plant-based meal. In 14 studies, people were asked about how meat consumption affected the environment. 25% of the people studied thought that meat impacted the environment at least in some way and believed reducing meat consumption was a good way to help the environment. But overall, amongst these people, they thought reducing meat consumption was the least effective way to help the environment when presented with other options that you could do at home. It is, in fact, the most effective way to help the environment. Beef meat has an energy efficiency of 2%, meaning that for every 100 kilograms fed to a cow of soy, grain, what have you, only 2 kilocalories are obtained by eating beef. I once heard someone say that there is no such thing as animal protein. Since the animals we eat only eat plants, we are really eating plant protein when we eat beef, just recycled through a cow. But does that really have to happen? Going plant-based is actually not hard, it's easy. Taking it slow and making small changes is a great way to start, so do what you're comfortable with. For example, I'm comfortable with replacing beef with beans on my tacos at Taco Bell. I'm also comfortable with replacing chicken wings and with cauliflower wings, and also with staying in tonight and having pasta without the meatballs and cheese. It's easy to swap cow's milk for almond milk or sliced American cheese with, shout out to my favorite cheese brand, Chow's creamy original vegan cheese made from coconuts. As a reminder, all of these little changes lead to bigger ones, and this is reflected in the environment. For some more facts, 51% of greenhouse gas emissions come from animal agriculture. Think of all that methane that animals produce. Plant-based eating and living reduces energy consumption as well as conserves water significantly. It does not take nearly that much energy to process beans and nuts as opposed to meat and dairy. Plant-based eating stabilizes the ocean, think overfishing. It protects rainforests and lands. It preserves habitats and prevents species extinction. It uses fewer resources. The big one is it combats world hunger. It also makes people healthier significantly. Here is a quote from an article from thehumaneleague.com. Will veganism save the planet? Our food system is broken and our planet is paying the price. But we have the power to create a more sustainable food system for animals, for the planet, and for us all. Leaving animals off our plate is the single biggest way we can reduce our individual impact on the environment. And while it may not solve every single one of the world's problems, it helps stop the threat of climate change, which according to the UN is the biggest threat modern humans have ever faced. So join the movement to save our planet by making the switch to plant-based. Now, joining the movement can look like many things. I want to start by proposing a challenge. Let's one-up Meatless Monday by doing plant-based one day of the week. So Meatless Monday is cutting out meat. But let's try to cut out milk, butter, cheese. I know it's hard, but there are so many resources out there. Or every lunch this week is vegetarian. Or replace all your dairy with almond milk for the next month, or coconut milk, or soy milk, or hemp milk, or banana milk, or it's endless. There are a lot of ways you can help the environment, and I mean really help it. And it's also probably the easiest way to help. Back to my story. I have been vegan for 5 years now, and vegetarian for 4 years before that. I will never go back to eating animal products because I honor Earth Day all year long. Amen, and blessed be. Thank you.